Good evening, guys. I hope you're having a fabulous Thursday evening. Today we're going to be hitting on what's happening in Frisco and McKinney, and I'm also going to be sharing with you a little bit about some things that are coming up, and also, sorry, I keep losing my train of thought. So we're sharing about McKinney and Frisco today, a couple of updates about those two cities in particular that were pretty impressive. So a couple of headlines that we're going to go over today. Frisco ISD extends temporary online learning option for students through 6th grade. So we're going to talk and discuss and dive deep a little bit into that. Also, another big thing that happened about a week ago was Frisco ISD proposing that attendance zone modifications for the 2022-23 school year. So if you do have a child that's in Frisco ISD and you want to comment, we'd love to hear your comments about what's going on in the district, what you're experiencing there for all those people that are there. Then we're also going to talk a little bit about some of the they have some early concept work for Frisco's Northwest Community Park, and it includes a large biking tower for gravity riding, so to speak. So I've got a couple of renderings of that I want to show you today. And we're going to also talk a little bit about the wave of the future. So Frisco is going to start delivery drones. So I don't know if you're for or against delivery drones. So it should be starting soon. And we're going to talk a little bit about the article for that. Here in McKinney, there's a lot of road construction that's going to be happening. If you do live in Frisco, it may impact your commute as well. So we're going to be talking about that. And lastly, we'll talk a little bit about some of the community events that are going to be happening around McKinney this fall. So a lot of fun and exciting news there. And then lastly, if you have any questions, whether it be about McKinney, Frisco, any of the surrounding areas, or you just have a real estate question, feel free to just type it in the chat. We'll be having just a conversation with you and I tonight. It's no special guest, nothing fancy today. Just wanted to share with you some of this news and how it could impact you if you're living here locally in the McKinney, Frisco, North Dallas, North Texas area. So let's go ahead and here's just a little bit of a reminder. We're going to have this little scrolling thing at the bottom. So if you are listening and you have a question or a comment, please feel free to do so as we continue on with our little show today. Oh, and I do want to show you a new thing. So you can see my little sign over here. It's backwards. So it says like a mother, right? I've got this made recently. Ugh. So you're going to start seeing this one as well, which is kind of fun, exciting news for me and for the channel. Real Mom Real Estate has kind of been my slogan. I do have 5 kids, and I did teach prior to getting into real estate. So that's always a big focus for me and for those that I meet and talk to. So that's why the education piece is also near and dear to my heart, because if there's anything unjust going on in a district, I want to talk about it a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our top story for today, which is, let me widen it a little bit more. We have Frisco ISD proposes attendance zone modifications in the 2022-23 school year. So it goes on to say that the board, the ISD Board of Trustees, got its first proposal, first look at it, October 12th, which, like I said, this was a couple weeks ago that this happened. As Frisco's growing population grows, rezoning takes place to preserve the district's small school model, which supports students having opportunities to participate in extracurricular activities. Over the past 20 years, attendance zones have been changed 17 times. I'm not really rocket science, but 17 times in the last 20 years has probably got to be very, very frustrating for parents especially maybe those that are have just relocated and they're like, oh, I'm so glad we wanted this specific elementary school. And then the next year or two, they're like, nope, we're going to change the zoning. I know that happened for sure not too long ago. I want to say within the last couple of years, they rezoned out a portion of Little Elm. So there are parts of Little Elm that are zoned to Frisco ISD, and it's kind of on its, I guess, Frisco's western border over there. But there was an entire neighborhood that got rezoned from Little Elm, from Frisco ISD to Little Elm ISD. And what happened was, you guessed it, a lot of people wanted to get out of that area, and a lot of people put their house up for sale. I don't know if they're going to be rezoning that drastically. I don't know if they are going to move out of other parts of Little Elm. But that's a lot of rezoning changes to be happening. And I'm sure that there are many parents out there that are very frustrated. And just so that you know, as a parent, if you are or if you're relocating to Frisco, just make sure that you know that rezoning takes place quite a bit. There's some pros and cons to it for sure. But I can't imagine if I am a student, let's say that I am a junior and I go to one of the Frisco high schools, how devastating would it be for me to have to change schools my sophomore year and then junior and senior year, or even my senior year, if I had to switch or change school districts, how I have to whole new set of friends, right? So if I lived in a different area than my best friend or whatever it might be, so I'm having to start over in a new school. Maybe that school doesn't have as many opportunities, which I can't imagine the schools would be too different. Don't quote me on that, but I'm sure it's got to be very difficult for some of these parents. Imagine if you had more than one kid in the school and they decided to rezone everything. It's hard enough for the kids these days to make friends, to get to know other students, but it's a whole nother thing if you're shifting students around. I was talking with another good friend of mine who one of his brothers is a coach at one of the Frisco high schools, and he was telling me that it's even difficult on the student athletes, because let's say that you were at one Frisco high school your sophomore year or junior year and you played tight end, and then you get rezoned to another Frisco high school, maybe one of your rivals, and now you have to play on the rival team. But guess what? They already have their tight end set. So not only are you getting to miss out on that opportunity, but you lose friends, you lose maybe teacher relationships that you already had established in those schools. I kind of really think that Frisco ISD needs to kind of rethink a little bit of their rezoning or make allowances, which this could be happening, and you may be blowing up the comment section right now, but that's a lot of redistricting, rezoning for Frisco, 17 times in the last 20 years. That's almost once a year. That's a lot. There needs to be a bigger plan new schools are good. And I think that's probably part of the reason they opened up a brand new elementary school or a brand new high school. And so it is taking kids out of one school and putting it into another. But I think there just needs to be a little bit more planning and not as much when it comes to the rezoning. So let's see, 17 times opening. Okay, because Frisco, it's so different than McKinney ISD in that regard. There are so many, if you look at how many schools they have in Frisco ISD, and we can pull that up if we need to, but the number of elementary schools and the number of middle schools and the number of high schools is probably way more than any of the other districts here in North Texas. And that's just kind of how they set it up. They set it up because they want lower class sizes. They want, to make sure that there's enough teachers for enough kids, for enough students. And a lot of it has to do with housing types. So The city is preparing to, when you add an apartment complex to a certain area, when you add multifamily units, whether they be duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, to a certain part of your, housing type in your area, these are some of the real things and real questions that you have to figure out and answer. There is a big push and a big need in other areas for multifamily, for apartments, because there aren't enough rental properties, there aren't enough rental units available for those that are trying to relocate here. So a lot of this is just housing driven, whether it be new single family homes coming in, or apartments, or whatever that might be. So just growth kind of, it makes this more of an issue. But I would say, and Frisco has really grown rapidly within the last 20 years. So I can see the need but 17 times is still a lot, in my opinion. And let's see what I was going to say. Okay. The presentation highlighted the projected growth of the city over the next 10 years, which included more multifamily developments and single family homes. The PASA's research also found that students who have not yet returned to campuses due to the pandemic would likely return by the 2022-23 school year. And that kind of leads us into our next story, which is that Frisco ISD is actually extending its temporary online learning option for students through sixth grade. So I'm guessing kinder through sixth grade, that is an option. But if you have a high schooler, that's not really as much of an option, which is, to me, is kind of weird, because I would think it would be reversed, because older kids are going to be able to use that technology more than a kindergartner. Like, my 5-year-old knows how to do a lot, and he is, pretty tech savvy on my phone. But in the same swoop of things, like getting him to get on the computer, like I'm having to log him in, I'm having to do all of those things. So Frisco ISD has extended its temporary online learning option through the end of the fall semester. So it's just through the end of this year. Students who are new to Frisco ISD may sign up for virtual learning at the time of enrollment through the new student registration process. Let's see, the district announced September 17th that it would continue the virtual learning originally slated for the first 9 weeks of this year, for students in early childhood programs, as well as kindergarten through sixth grade. Now, the other thing to consider, I actually experienced a little bit of the virtual learning. Now, it is a different district, but whenever we were before COVID hit and everybody kind of shut down past spring break, and this was everybody in North Dallas, all the schools, what happened was, everyone was thrown into virtual learning. And so you would have certain class times that the kindergartner would have to be on, and then you'd have certain class times where the first grader would have to be on. So virtual learning is great, but it's not great when you have those younger kids, because if you are trying to work from home and do virtual learning, like you are more of the teacher in that role when you are doing virtual learning. So those of you who have not ever done virtual learning, it's hard to imagine that you would never have to do anything. But in that regard, because of what has happened over the past couple of years with COVID, but it's a difficult, from a parent's perspective, virtual learning is very difficult. It's almost very similar to homeschooling, because you are that involved in your kids' education. You have to be that involved. Otherwise, they'll slip through the cracks. So I went off on a little bit of a tangent there. But the district announced that they would continue this, and that they're going to be reevaluating, and they may extend it until a COVID-19 vaccine is available for children under the age of 12. Only a vaccine is widely available for the age group. The district will end virtual learning. Now, I don't really see this necessarily as a driving factor. I know that of all of the research that's been done, from what I have seen, there hasn't been many, like, children aren't as susceptible as a person who's 80 or 90 in their 70s or 60s, right? So I haven't seen it be a huge contributing factor, but there are some that are afraid that if they do send their kid to school, that they could get COVID. And that's, from the age of 12 and under. So I can see what they are trying to do there. I don't necessarily agree with this, but I do think that they're trying to make this option available. In my opinion, I feel like this virtual option should be made available to everyone, regardless of how they feel about COVID, just because everyone is going to learn a little bit differently. And this virtual aspect, which I think they should bring back, not only in the elementary and middle school years, but also in the high schools as well. I mean, it's super important for those parents who do want to be more involved and who do want to have their kids gain a little bit more responsibility about, obtaining their education online. This is great for those types of people. So I really am kind of shocked that they decided that they're going to cancel it as soon as the problem is solved. But that's just a little bit of my 2 cents. So it kind of just goes on and on about what the district is doing and mobile hotspots and meals for families, that kind of thing, which is nothing new as far as what other districts are offering in that regard. So, all right, our next top story is also Frisco related. So we do have a Frisco theme that we've got going on tonight. It's all a little bit about the early concept. So a gravity riding bike tower. Look at this. That's pretty impressive. So it looks like you can ride your bike up the tower and take some photos. It looks like I can see someone up here on a camera. Let me see if they let us know which park in Frisco, because that would be helpful. Here's some other art. Cycling tower would allow cyclists to scale it at various heights and build enough speed to feed into gravity trails, according to the city of Frisco. Nice. Amenities planned for Northwest Community Park. So if you're familiar with Northwest Community Park, I'm guessing it's in the northwest quadrant of Frisco. It includes space for food trucks, splash and standard playgrounds, and a dog park. So this park is going to be really, really nice. It looks like I'd want to go there and have an event. All right. So it says a park directly south of the upcoming PGA Frisco headquarters could soon feature several new fixtures for cyclists, among them being the gravity tower that we just talked about. So this is going to be located south of the PGA headquarters in Frisco, which is really cool. Really good amenity for that part of town. An October 19th work session, Frisco City Council heard a presentation. October 5th, they approved the contract. Okay, so it looks like the park is estimated to be about $24.5 million. Wow, that's pretty expensive. All right, so we've got renderings of the concept. Let's see, a total of $2.43 million was given for the gravity tower itself. The tower would allow cyclists to scale at various heights and build enough speed to feed into gravity trails, according to Coates. In total, the park is planned to have 9.5 miles of trails. That's awesome. Cool. All right. We would build up enough speed to feed into these trails to be able to have that very advanced riding experience. It would become a facility where you, as a beginner, or a child as a beginner, could go out there to bike and then progressively continue to move through the park throughout the system as you get better and better at it. Coates said roughly 1,400 community surveys for the upcoming park indicated desires for a trail system, which, yes, Frisco does need a trail system. It's very different from McKinney in that regard, which has an established trail system throughout the city. Pedestrians and bike connections and a commitment to protect, enhance, and celebrate nature. Good that they need more of that. More green spaces, I think, in Frisco are good. And any place is going to be good, but Frisco will greatly benefit from more green space. The parts where I feel we're totally missing, where needs to maintain. Okay, we already talked about this. Mayor Pro Tem Bill Woodward said a volunteer network throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex helps maintain area parks. Woodward said the plan should still account for volunteers helping with day-to-day maintenance. So, and I'll have all of these articles in the description below once the live stream is over. So if you have any more questions or I can get you some answers to these, that would be great. All right, on to the next story. So we've got a great story here. Delivery drones will soon be flying around Frisco. Now, I've been very hesitant about this type of thing. So when I saw this headline, I was like, oh my gosh, drones, when I hear a drone, it's kind of scary that they would just be kind of flying around and that you would hear it or that you would even see, you know, something similar to this where someone's flying the drone to deliver something else. It seems kind of odd to me. And it looks like, looks like Walgreens employees will process orders and load packages onto the delivery drones, according to, this is kind of what they're supposed to look like. Okay. All right. See, I don't know how, like if this is your neighborhood and you see the delivery drone, I'm not sure how I feel about that. If that were my neighborhood, please tell me in the comment section what your thoughts are if you had that in your neighborhood. All right, so it says retail orders will soon be delivered on the lawns of Frisco residents by air. Now, here's the other problem too. If they're delivering the package on your lawn, what's to say that someone can't just come by and grab it? So I don't know if you'd have to be there when the drone got there, because that would, to me, be the only, because they can't go up to your porch, right? And the drone can't fly in there. I can see a lot of issues with that when it comes to a drone. It doesn't want to be too close to your house in that way. So I wonder if you'd have to really coordinate that pickup with the drone, because otherwise, if they're going to leave it on your lawn, that just kind of seems like an excellent place for someone just to go and pick it up off your lawn. I mean, granted, there are, you know, I've left packages on my front step and you can clearly see it from the street and no one's taken it, thank goodness. But you never know what people are going to try to do. It says drone-based delivery company Wing, a subsidiary of Google's parent company Alphabet, announced on October 20th a partnership with Walgreens to bring the unconventional delivery model to densely populated metropolitan areas in the country. The first operation will soon be set up at an unspecified Dallas-Fort Worth area Walgreens. So they're not even going to let you know which Walgreens yet, store in its parking lot, and will serve parts of Frisco and Little Elm. So it's going to serve those two cities to start. Walgreens employees will process orders and load packages into delivery drones, according to the new release, and Wing will oversee operations of the delivery service. So it does look like they're going to oversee it, even though they drop it on your lawn. I wonder if you'll get like a text notification, your package has arrived. You know, that would be kind of cool. But at the same time, you know, you definitely want to get that package off your lawn as soon as possible. And, you know, what about weather implications? This probably won't fly, you know, for every single day, right? Like, what if it's raining? Is that something that they're willing to risk out in a thunderstorm? Or maybe they'll wait till the rain passes and then make the delivery. So I wonder how much weather will play a factor with some of this new technology too. The aircraft will arrive in small containers that serve as tiny hangars, allowing each store to quickly and easily deploy a small, dedicated fleet from its parking lot, on its roof, or small spaces adjacent to the building. So it looks like they're going to launch them from the air. But then you also have to have, I guess, people from this company, Wing, operating the drones, overseeing everything there. In addition, Wing announced a partnership with Hillwood to prepare a separate drone delivery facility with the mixed-use development Frisco Station. Now, Frisco Station, if you haven't watched my Frisco video, Frisco Station is just in the historic downtown area, the rail district. Wing said that it will work with Hillwood to deploy a delivery facility at Frisco Station that will have the usual delivery capabilities, and will also explore new use cases and hold community demonstrations and school field trips. Okay, so that's kind of cool. They're going to be using that for demonstrations, but oops, sorry about that. Okay. Until now, this type of service in the United States has been limited to smaller towns where land usage is less crowded and complex. The release says Wing's reliable aircraft and advanced flight planning and routing capabilities make it uniquely capable of operating a highly automated drone delivery service in more crowded, complex operating environments. Well, we shall see, Wing, how good of a service you do because I can see where in a small town situation where that would be of more benefit, because if you have a small town of 1,000 or 2,000 people that are all spread out, I mean, I can see how that would be kind of cool. But in a more densely populated area, I can see issues and problems. What if someone's getting their medication from Walgreens delivered to an apartment? So I mean, there's going to be some limitations still to this type of service, because I mean, a person in an apartment's not going to have a lawn. A person in a townhome's not going to have a lawn. Not to say that there's a whole lot of those out there in Frisco, but at the same time, like that service is not available for that type of person. So, and things to think about. All right. It looks like, okay, so Ross says, what are the major changes? Well, we talked about some of the major changes with Frisco ISD and everything that's happening there. The new drone service, that's a major change that's happening. They're testing it out in Frisco and Little Elm. And then we are going to talk a little bit about McKinney, some changes that are happening, and then also some events, and we'll kind of call it a night from there. So good question. Good comment, Ross. All right. So when it comes to McKinney, it says the crews are working to widen Custer Road and 3 more transportation projects in McKinney. So you are going to have, Custer is one of the main roads that connects Highway 380 all the way down to Highway 121. And I'll kind of show you that on the map here. And I'm surprised it's not really highlighted here, but if I can zoom in. So this is Custer Road, and you see it connects the Sam Rayburn Tollway, which is Highway 121, and it also goes all the way up to Highway 380. So it looks like now some of this is TxDOT related. They are going to be making a connector road from Virginia to make it go all the way into Stonebridge Ranch, which they're going to be constructing a little bit of that. They're also going to be pushing Custer up further and connecting it to 2478, which I think is their main road. And this road too, I've been on it. It's a 2-lane road right now. So right now, this part of Custer is, let me see if I can make this bigger so you can see it better. All right. So right now, this part of Custer is pretty developed, but this is where they're going to be expanding and constructing. So if you live in this part of McKinney or this part of Prosper, that's where it's going to affect you most when it comes to that new construction they're going to be putting. So it says crews are going to be widening FM 2478, which is north of 380, They're going to make it from a 2-lane into a 4-lane, which is very, very much needed up there to release some of that congestion. And it says eventually they're going to expand it to 6 lanes. So 3 lanes and 3 lanes, which is kind of cool. The plans also include realigning intersection 1461, which is also in that northern corridor north of 380. Crews are currently working on the pavement of the Wilson Creek Bridge, including pouring concrete, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so that should be happening over the next couple of weeks. It is going to take them a while, I think, to get that going. And then it shows you the cost and the timeline. So it says there should be finished by the end of December, January, December timeframe. So hopefully that road will be a lot better to travel on there. They're also going to be widening Stacy Road, which I've already seen the construction up for this. If we go down to the map here, I'll kind of show you. Come on now. Oops, zoom out. How do I zoom out? Zoom out. Here we go. Okay, so this was the one for Custer. The one for Stacy is closer to where I live. This, they've already been kind of working on this part of Custer and Stacy. Now, Stacy does turn into Main Street, and it will take you all the way to downtown Frisco there. But they are going to be widening this. Let's see what they're going to be doing. Here we go. Yeah, it's already been underway, of course. Let's see. It looks like they're going to complete it in early 2022, which is good because that construction has been there for a long time. I think COVID kind of slowed that down a little bit. Actually, it slowed down a lot of construction in the city of McKinney for sure. And they're also going to be widening Virginia Parkway, which is very much needed. And then this is going to be with TxDOT. So working with TxDOT, they are going to enhance Highway 380. See, it's been put on a hold for a long time because it's already 6 lanes on either side and it still sees a lot of traffic, especially if you live in that northern corridor. It can get really congested. There's traffic almost every day. Like my office is right about here in this little section here, and there's always traffic. It's always so congested right where this little black line is. And so I don't know, some of it's political from what I've heard. The mayor, was it the mayor? No, one of the, I talked recently to one of the people that's in charge of a lot of the road planning and road development in McKinney. And they said that some of that 380 connection and negotiating stuff with TxDOT was very political between what was happening in McKinney and what was happening in Prosper. So I don't know when that's going to be resolved. It says TBD, right? They've been working on it since October and they haven't really come to I guess they haven't strategized that plan very well. Oh my gosh. There's a frog in my throat. Sorry about that. All right. Now, lastly, I do want to talk a little bit about some of the events that we have coming up here in McKinney that I'm really excited about. I love Halloween. My kids love Halloween. Decorating is a lot of fun. Okay. All right. So we've got, October 21st, which is today. We missed this one. We'll start with this one. Okay. The 23rd, which is this Saturday, at the Apex Center, and I'm a member of the Apex. They're going to have the pumpkin dunk. It says participants will jump in an indoor pool to choose a pumpkin, then head to the decorating tables of art supplies and other goodies. Online registration is required, and it has it broken up into different age groups. So 9 a.m. to noon is $10 per person. Free for special needs children. There's a registration link on there as well, or you can call the Apex to get that taken care of. Now, there's going to be a trick or treat. The Moms Club of McKinney and the Senior Recreation Center are partnering to host a trick or treat march through the center. Preschoolers and their parents are invited to cruise through the halls in Halloween costumes. This is probably very similar to where you go to a door in a classroom and you kind of trick or treat that way. Through the Senior Recreation Center. So that's where that's going to be held. And they're going to have that going on October 30th, which is Saturday. Halloween this year is on a Sunday. October 30th, they're going to have the Run with Monsters. Orange Theory Fitness is going to have their third annual McKinney Monsters Dash 5K. That starts at the end of Tups. So that's going to be on the east side of Highway 5. So historic downtown McKinney is kind of split into two. So Highway 5 splits the east and the west side of the downtown area, which Tups is on the east side. That's where it starts and ends, apparently. Run or walk around the historic McKinney cotton mill and be met at the finish line by local vendors, cold beer. Each participant will receive a t-shirt, a bib, swag bag, a finisher's medal. Festivities, I can't say that word tonight, include music, a spectacular photo booth, a costume contest. So it talks a little bit about registration if you want to check that out. Also October 30th, it looks like the Hope Clinic of McKinney is going to host a community health fair. It's going to be focused on women's health. They're going to have more than 20 vendors set up all around the clinic's parking lot. They'll be checking blood pressure, blood sugar screening. You get a free Chick-fil-A lunch. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty neat event there on the 30th. And it looks like it's going to be off of Lamar Street there. So it looks like it's like you get a bingo card and you get to walk around. That'll be fun. All right, November 3rd, which will be after Halloween, obviously, which falls on a Wednesday, it looks like. The John and Judy Gay Library is going to host the multilingual story time every Wednesday for children ages 3 to 5. They're going to read stories, sing songs in Spanish, Chinese, Hindi, German, and more. That sounds like a very cool multilingual and multicultural event to take your kids to. So if space is limited, so make sure that you are going to go to this website to check it out. And lastly, November 6th, the local sports artisans. So St. Gabriel's Women's Club is going to host its 20th annual holiday boutique at the St. Gabriel Community Center. And for those of you that don't know, that's in North McKinney, just north of Stonebridge Ranch, but just south of 380. Shoppers can buy from more than 80 artisans selling handmade items, home decor, pottery, jewelry, clothing, candles. And the 6th is a Saturday. So it's going to be Saturday from 9 to 4. It is a free event. So it looks like it's going to be pretty cool. Get a lot of Christmas gifts there, right? And to check out, you want to check out the St. Gabriel's website for more information on that. And that's all that I have. What's happening for tonight? If you are watching and you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But I want to say thank you all for watching. Tonight's going to be a little bit shorter than usual, but I hope that you have a great rest of your evening. And next week, just want to let you know, next Thursday will not be a live stream. I do have another event planned. If you are looking at a career in real estate, I am going to be hosting an event at my office here in McKinney. So if you've ever been thinking about a career in real estate and you're here locally in the area, I'd love to give you more information about that event that's happening next Thursday on the 28th. And I will see you in November, which is hard to believe that October has flown by so far. Some of the new videos that are going to be coming up soon. I've got a video about Cinnaholic, which is a cinnamon shop that's located in McKinney that you're going to want to check out. And then I've got a couple of other videos as well that will be coming out soon. A video about Anna, Texas is coming down the pipeline as well. I'm getting connected with the mayor of Anna on that. So we should have some really good information for you about the city of Anna. That's not too far away from McKinney. But thank you guys so much again for watching, and we'll see you on the next